Aquarius, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for June of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Aquarius, a lot going on this month. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the key dates taking place, the key aspects. And if you do want a more specific look, do watch your weekly where I go into the specifics of this month. So let's look and see where everything's at starting off the month. We have a lot of concentration of energy in your fourth house with the Sun and Venus there starting this month. So I think there's a lot of this focus and awareness of either your home, of either your family, or your health in some sense, or maybe even you're reflecting on your past. So whatever it is, I think it's excellent. I think it's a great place to cultivate some new things because on the 4th, you're going to have a new moon in that fourth house. So there could be some new beginnings with family, new beginnings with home, with your health, whatever it might be. And I think it's good to put energy into that because the Sun is there, so you guys should be gaining energy by putting energy into that area of life. And I think you can be enjoying it too since Venus is there. Now the new moon is going to be conjoining up to Venus, so there are new values coming up in terms of your home or personal values. And it is going to be a grand cross new moon, making it very challenging, but also very constructive, because obviously it's through challenges in life that we have our greatest growth potential. So challenge yourself with home or with family or with your health, because with that perspective, then you're in alignment with it, you're not resisting it, and you're open to the challenge. So when you're open to the challenge, this is where you can really build and solidify your roots in life. Whatever that might be for you personally, it might be all those areas, it might be one or two. So sit with it around the 4th, set those new intentions, and begin to cultivate that stuff this month. Now on the 7th, we've got Mercury going into that 4th, so you probably find you're starting to think more about these 4th house matters, which is great. Maybe working more on a practical level, day-to-day stuff around the home or whatever it might be, for you to learn more about it and to just get that energy moving and that momentum moving and take care of whatever might need to be taken care of regarding your foundations. Now on the 9th, the North Node is going to be trining up to Pluto, and Pluto is forming a lot of very important aspects this month. There's a lot of transformation occurring in a very supportive way, and this is specifically with our life path. So for you guys, the life path has been, since this early part of the year, for relationships, okay? For the next 2 years, it's all about cultivating your one-to-one connections and your relationships in life. So you've had Jupiter here, there's been awareness, there's been opportunity through people, through relationships, but now around the 9th, it's about making some change. And I think you're very willing to make change, and so whatever it is, make the change. There's a lot of supportive energy with that. Of course, your personal chart's the most important, but if you're feeling guided to, it could be a good time to do that. And through that, I think you guys are learning more about relationships and perhaps cultivating specifically something new here. Now on the 12th, Mars is going to be retrograde trining up to Chiron. So one thing about Mars this month is that there is a lot of this reflection in terms of your guys' life path. And this is the case last month too. So this month, continue to reflect on where life is taking you, what life is about, your philosophy, your worldview, what's possible. And I think specifically around the 12th, you can find a lot of that very healing. But I think you're learning a lot about that. Seeing where you're putting your energy with these things is also going to be coming to the forefront, that awareness. Now on the 14th, Neptune goes retrograde. So this has been Neptune in your first house. So you guys are going through this now re-examination about the fact that, of course, you guys are so much more, as we all are, than just a label or just a thing or just an identity. Neptune in the first house really helps us connect to our spiritual essence, the presence, the acceptance, the unconditionality of self, and go with the flow and have more faith and trust. So it's been this opportunity for you guys to really connect with yourself on a soul level, to have more peace in your life, because the first house is like your life path. And so now reflecting on these things where you can have more peace through letting go for the next 6 months from the 14th onward. Now 17th and 18th has Saturn scoring up to that Neptune. So this has been very important for you in Capricorns because it's involving your ruler Saturn. And where Saturn's been for you is your 10th house. So for about a year off and on because of his retrograde, there's been a lot of attention, I think, on your career or your future productive things, your legacy, your public stuff, whatever it might be for you that's productive. And so continuing to cultivate that. It's very important. I think you guys are learning a lot about it. Maybe it's a bit reflective with that Saturn retrograde, but specifically around the 17th and 18th, it's very important for you guys to kind of let go, have that non-attached perspective, be willing to be guided like the river to where life is going to take you when it comes to your career or your public stuff or your productive things, as best as you can, because it's a square. And so when it's involving a ruler, it can be challenging. It can be like we don't know exactly where things are going or where it's headed. And by the way, this has been going on since November, and November was the first time it went exact. So if you think back to November, that might be something specific for you that then could be taking on a new direction here. And I think this one's going to be much more, I think there's going to be an awareness coming through. And I don't think it's going to be of an intellectual kind, but of an intuitive kind. So really listen to your intuition. The more willing you are to let go, this can be very constructive because, again, you're finding the path through the non-attached, through letting go, and you're finding that everything is actually leading you exactly where you need to be, specifically, I think, regarding that 10th house stuff. But with you, because it is your ruler and your life. Now, on the 17th and 18th as well, Venus starts to go into Gemini, followed by the Sun on the 20th. So here's where things start to shift in terms of your focus and your enjoyments. And the shift is going into your 5th house. So this is the house of creativity. It's the house of fun, of playfulness, of lightheartedness. So whereas the first half, I think there's a lot of focus on home and your roots. Second half, I think, is more about maybe having fun, being entertained, entertaining, expressing yourself, getting creative, whatever it might be. Tapping into the playful side of life. So that's great for you to enjoy that second half of the month. From the 20th onward, you can be gaining energy, gaining prana by expressing yourself, and that's going to take you into July. Now, the 20th is a very important date because we have that shift with the Sun and Jupiter conjoining up to the North Node, as well as a full moon. So in terms of Jupiter and the North Node, this is now more of this insight, and you're seeing what's possible when it comes to relationships. Could be something specific there, something new around the 20th. That depends on your personal chart. But at the very least, all of you are seeing what's possible, and you're able to have that larger perspective, that overall perspective about relationships, which I think can be very positive. And again, I think it's an excellent time these next 2 years to be cultivating new and existing relationships. Now, that full moon is going to be right on the cusp between your 10th and your 11th. So there is a culmination happening with your career, which is part of this full moon. There's an awareness, there's a status check. You're seeing some things have culminated, some things haven't. So it's the status check of seeing, okay, what you can let go of that hasn't culminated, or maybe you can modify. And then what has worked, what has been culminating, continue to put energy into that and move that forward going into the next 6 months. Now, in terms of your 11th house, this is the house of your friends, of your groups. That could be coming to the forefront. I think it's an excellent time for that stuff. Community things, whatever it might be. And your hopes and wishes and dreams might be illuminated as well. So again, good energy, good momentum for those areas around the 20th. The 26th has Jupiter trining up to Pluto. So there's this, again, Plutonic shift and change to your perspective about relationships. Okay, and it's very deep, but in a good way. And maybe there's something that can be let go, needs to be let go, transformed, but mostly with your perspective is really what it always comes down to. And I think that's going to happen. Your perspective's changing, but maybe there's some things that you can change. And I think it's a good time for that too, depending on your personal chart, and if you're feeling guided to maybe do whatever it is you've been guided to do or need to do here to make change with those interpersonal relationships. Could be for some of you legal matters as well, since that's also 7th house. Chiron's retrograde on the 27th for the next 5 months. So there's a bit of this reflection specifically for you guys in terms of where you're doing some healing with your self-worth, your self-reliance. Chiron recently went into your second this early part of the year. So it's nothing new, but I think for the next 5 months, just reflect on where you can. Be grateful for what you have as best as you can. To see that, of course, you have natural gifts, natural abilities, but there might be some wounds around your ability to cultivate what you value in life, and that's okay. It's just the time to be doing that healing, and I think reflecting on that for the next 5 months can be excellent. The last major event of the month is on the 29th when Mars goes station direct, so there's a lot of this forward-moving energy now with what I think you have been reflecting on in terms of your life path. So with Mars retrograding that 9th, you guys have learned a lot. I think you're, seeing a lot about what is possible, about your life direction, about your philosophy, your worldview. Maybe a lot of you have been reflecting on your adventurous spirits. So whatever expands your horizons that you've been learning about is starting to move forward going into July. I think it's going to be mostly in July where you'll start to see that. But around the 29th, there's definitely that shift in direction and perhaps things starting to move into a new direction involving your life path. All right, Aquarius, I hope you guys have a fantastic month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time.